Hey everyone, how are we all doing today? I hope we are ready for Azure Global 2023. I mean, this is going to be an intention because we have a lot of people lined up for this particular event. Of course, we'll be having our wonderful host. Tolu is going to be hosting us for the first session of this event. Hello, Tolu. How are you doing today?
I'm good. And you? Hi,
Um,
everyone.
hello. I know a lot of preparations has gone into today's event, and I'm sure everyone is like, "Oh, what are we going to have here today? Or what are we going to talk about?" So, do you have like a lineup for us, and how all of
Yes. Hi, everyone. It's great to have you here. If you can hear me, you can drop on the chat box, okay, your name and where you're joining us from. We just want to meet everyone here today. So today we are having amazing speakers from, different field in the Azure space, where they're going to talk about different applications and how we can go about them. So if you're someone new into the cloud computing space, this is where you're supposed to be. So guys, we are saying welcome to you once again. Welcome. So I'll be introducing our first guest for today. Oh, great. It's great to meet you, Jima, all the way from Berlin. So, Jima is joining us from LinkedIn. So, it's great to have you here today. So, our first speaker today is Leban Gang. Leban Gang Madize. So, she'll be speaking with us today and she'll be joining shortly. So, Leban Gang is, hi, it's great to have you here, Madize. I Would you like to say hi to the audience? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, just say hi to the audience.
Hi, Tolu, and hello to everyone joining in. Thank you for having me as part of the Global Azure Bootcamp hosted by the Azure Nigeria community. And by the way, Tolu, you can call me Lebo.
Okay. All right. You hear her label. How you doing? And how is your
I'm
day going
doing
today?
well.
Okay. Thank you for joining
So,
us and thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. We know we are going to learn great things today. So I'll be introducing you shortly. I know I'll do justice a little bit, but no one knows you better than yourself. So after introducing you, I would like you to do more of your introduction. Tell us what you do and tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's just get to know you. So she's an Azure engagement and she's working with Microsoft. So it is a great deal to work it is a great deal to work with an organization like Microsoft. So one of the reasons why we are here today is because an organization like Microsoft actually exists. She's definitely, you can see what she's doing here. So she's definitely into empowering developers to build innovative, reliable, and scalable cloud applications. And one of the good things she does is, apart from empowering developers, she's also helping others, helping others to grow, helping others to learn. She's sharing her knowledge here today, so she's helping us learn. And when she's not doing all that, she's a founder. So she is a founder of Diva Im podcast and develop IM's online community. And what does this organization do? This organization actually help, Africans, help individuals, Africans, the African community, help us get online IMs and also help us, they help with innovations here in Africa and also provide accessibility to these African aims and promote the African culture. And I've not done justice to this, so I would like Labor to do justice to our profile.
Tolu, thank you so much. And you summarized it very well. I like to tell people that I'm an intrapreneur. meaning I approach my day-to-day work life as someone who is a problem solver, you know, and having been a founder at the same time, it means I like solving problems, you know, using technology. And one of the passion projects that I have is around African hymns, you know. So I'm a Christian, and in my denomination, we normally praise and worship, not just using scriptures in the Bible, and but we use scripture in conjunction with hymn books, you know. And so our church is really, really very big. And South Africa, as you know, it is a country that has 12 different languages. So sometimes you will find yourself singing a song, connecting with it, but not really understanding what the lyrics mean because they're not maybe in your mother tongue. So I saw social media as an opportunity to start digitizing these hymns to also make them accessible, because a lot of these hymn books are very scarce. People are struggling to actually find copies of the actual books. So now, with this community, people can have the digital version of the hymns. And through the podcast, we unpack what the hymns mean and also translate them. So the future of this project is probably applying AI to it, you know, teaching AI models an African language. And hopefully, with time, the data set of these hymns will be enough for that. But today I will be talking about improving online shopping experiences. So, anyone today who loves shopping online, um, they know that a lot of the time during November or during a big sale, a lot of the sites crash, you know, and that's due to the number of people trying to access the site and doing the same action, which is adding to cart and checking out at the same time. So back in the day, so I used to be a Windows Phone app developer. And I remember back in the day, as you build your app, you would test it against different emulators to see how the UI will be across different devices. And you would also reach out to a couple of friends to say, hey, please download my app. Um, Give me any feedback around crashing or the actual user experience. And any developer who builds an app, you know, their first goal is having 100 users, then 1,000, then 10,000, then 100,000, then a million, you know. But even though we have those ambitions, a lot of the time we're not thinking about how our actual app will perform and scale in accordance to the number of users. Will the app performance be the same way when 10 people use it as compared to a million people using it? And so today I'm going to show you through a session that I prepared on Azure load testing how you can simulate an environment in the cloud where you can see the behavior of either your app or your web app, how it performs when you're scaling with the number of users. So I'm also using a Contoso, which is like a made up company. And I will share the URL with the team. It's available on GitHub. You can publish the the project yourself so that you can apply load testing to it. But without any further ado, I'm going to share my screen. So I've uploaded a couple of slides that I want to just take you through before I do the demo. Let me just close. I've got a couple of things open. Tolu, if you can maybe help me in the back end. I'm not seeing my presentation.
Okay, Once it comes up, I would let you know.
All right. Okay, I can see it. It's backstage. Awesome. Thank you. So, as I introduced myself earlier, my name is Leboga Madise, Azure Go-to-Market Manager at Microsoft. You can get in touch with me on Twitter at Lebomadise or on Blue Sky at Lebogang and on GitHub at Fruitimo. So, so, uh, so as you know, digital transformation is reshaping the way we work, right? There's a study that shows that 91% of, sorry, please excuse me, I'm just going to reopen the presentation on my side because I'm struggling. Okay, I can see it now. So 91% of, so there's a study that was done that shows that we're seeing like a high percentage of people, sparking innovation through digital transformation. And okay, I really apologize, team. I'm gonna re-present the deck from my desktop so that I'm able to control it. Okay, please give me a few minutes. I'm just gonna open my deck once again. All right, I've got it now. Okay. Okay, they say it isn't. Okay, all right. I hope you can see my screen now. So there was a study that was done by Isaka. So Isaka is an information systems and audit firm where they saw that a large percentage of organization are sparking innovation through digital transformation. And 85% of these organizations say that they must offer digital services or risk becoming irrelevant. And our CEO, Satya Nadella, actually said that every company is now becoming a software company, and that by 2030, there won't be such a thing as the IT industry because technology will be embedded in every industry. So agriculture, manufacturing, education, health, financial services, so there's no limit, okay? So now, since modern engineering has paved the way for this new kind of app, and by new kind of app, I mean apps that are born in the cloud, apps that are smart, that are adapt to the 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 way people engage with it. So for example, even if we may be using the same app, it should be intelligent enough to be able to improve or tailor the experience based on what you like, as well as how you engage more with it. And that is also how people leverage advertising within the apps, right? And one other way is also being able to build on the foundation of others. So for example, GitHub right now is where every developer builds their code, right? So there's a record number of developers who host their code on GitHub, and GitHub as an institution encourages building upon the foundations of others, meaning you focus on the innovation and reuse like code that has already been done. If there's no innovation in, let's say, a logging screen, there's no point in you trying to rewrite that from scratch. Rather you reuse that code and you focus on the innovation. And apps today are very successful if they are centered on the customer experience. So when we talk about app resilience, we look at 4 different focus areas. So site health, digitization, DevOps, and shifting left. So for today, whilst I want to stress the importance of resilience and reliability, I'm not going to go into detail with resilient app development across the spectrum. I'm actually going to just focus a lot on the load testing part of it. But for those of you who are new to these concepts, when we talk about site health, we're talking about outages as well as the downtime that can result in millions of dollars of lost revenue, as well as brand damage and customer dissatisfaction. I will also show you real life examples where a site went down and how much it cost that company, right? Digitization. So a lot of the digitization in organizations was accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. So a lot of these services that were usually not available digitally, led to outages or causing even more severe problems. So now, thanks to the pandemic, people actually understand the importance of digitizing crucial services. For example, being able to get access to a doctor without necessarily leaving your home. And then DevOps. So this methodology is, making sure that teams stay on the same page. So the operational teams and the development teams need to be empowered to be able to deliver their solutions on time all the time. And then when we talk about shift left, right, we're really talking about security by design. We're talking about developers taking on a larger role in validating their app quality, performance, and scalability. So we no longer outsource the responsibility of performance to the app testers. So every member of the team is accountable, from the developer to the architect to the tester, and so on. So earlier on, I mentioned how if you have an outage, it could result in revenue losses. So Amazon actually reported that they lost almost 100 million US dollars in revenue in just 1 hour of downtime outage in 2018's Amazon Prime Day. So Amazon Prime Day is similar to Black Friday, except it happens on just Amazon commercial store. And the United Airlines also grounded flights for a duration of 45 minutes due to a site outage after a relaxed COVID-19 restriction increased travel, right? So that surge of the number of people trying to book tickets because now they could travel again led to the United Airlines site crashing. The Tokyo Stock Exchange. So we have the former CEO also saying that he was forced to step down after a day-long outage of the trading platform. You can imagine the millions and millions of revenue that of loss that came as a result of that outage. Google is also not immune to this. They lost approximately 1.7 million US dollars in revenue during just a 40-minute YouTube outage in late 2020. So you can read up more about these in the Business Insider, where they published the Amazon Prime Day website issues. So that publication was done in 2018. And you can look up in McKinsey's IT Resilience for Digital Age in the 2020 publication. You can read about the Google loss that I mentioned there, as well as the United Airlines loss in Newsweek, which was covered in 2021. The YouTube outage, you can learn more about it in The Verge, that was published in 2022. So, whilst we are now cognizant of the fact that an outage can result in revenue loss, it means we need to empower developers to have the tools to ensure app quality, right? And today, 47% of organizations cite testing as the most likely reason for delays in development, right? So, my passion is really around improving developer productivity. So, instead of an organization taking about 15 days, you know, focusing on testing before they could deploy, we want to be able to accelerate that um, that that end-to-end cycle so that they can go into publication earlier. 40% of testers are dissatisfied with their current processes today, and 74% have adopted new tools in just the last year. So as of March 2023, we now have a service in Azure called Azure Load Testing, which is generally available. And with Azure Load Testing, you can generate high-scale load and identify performance bottlenecks. So if you're the site owner of the web app that you are testing, you can even get deeper insights, you know, as to where the crashes happen so that your team is able to fix them. So what Azure Load Testing does is that it helps developers and testers generate high-scale load and run simulations with a fully managed load testing service, which is built for Azure. You can create tests very quickly. You don't even need any knowledge of load testing tools or even a custom JMeter script. So I'm going to show you with a demo very quickly how you can do that. And with that, you can gain actionable insights into the performance, scalability, and capacity, and support continuous improvement through automated continuous integration and delivery of workflows. So what this means is that even though I'm going to show you how to do a manual test, it means you can actually automate the load test by using CID, like continuous integration and deployment workflows. Okay, so to prepare a Riga of production environments with Azure load testing, we're going to generate a high-scale load test with ease, and you'll see you can get started in minutes, no coding experience required. You can run an existing test script and scale with high fidelity support for Apache JMeter. You can also optimize for scale and performance by having a look at the custom analytics that you will get, as well as a comprehensive view of the client and server metrics on a single dashboard. As I mentioned, you can automate your load test with CI/CD workflows. Okay, all right, I'm going to jump quickly into the demo. But before that, I want to just show you an architectural diagram of what a load test, constitutes of, right? So over here we have a user, and then they wanna perform a load test. They can do either a quick test, which I will show you from inside of the Azure portal, or they can also upload a custom JMeter script. And once the test is done, you will get metrics, as well as application and Azure dependency insights. So if your site has Kubernetes, or let's say you built it using containers, or you're making use of app service, you can actually get those analytics, those application insights as to what's happening. And those will be available under Azure Monitor. And then inside of Azure Load Testing, you'll also have a dashboard. So if, let's say, your site has multiple pages, it will tell you on the home page when you had X amount of users, this is what happened. If there were any errors on the page, it will actually show you the error number. For example, if it crashed completely, you will see the HTTP 404 as well as to at what point in the test did it break. Okay, so what I love about this is that you don't need to worry about having a complex infrastructure in place. You can create tests really quickly, and you don't even need any experience with load testing tools to do it. And yeah, it's very frictionless. Okay, so I've already went through this, but over here, this is just a snapshot of the results page after a load test. I'm going to try and zoom in so that you can see it really well. So over here, this is like a demo test of a shopping test. And then we could see different results, So we over here, they did it with a maximum of 800 users, virtual users, and we can see the performance for the cart, the shop page, the home page, the user flow, and the aggregate, as well as the requests per second that took place, and any errors that took place, as well as the pages on which the pages on your website in which those errors took place. And then you also over here, you can see the count. For example, it says on the home page you had a non-HTTP response, and the number of that is 2. But then over here you can also get more details in terms of the percentile and aggregate. So I'm going to show you all of this from inside of Azure shortly. Okay, so yeah, without wasting any more time, I don't want to yeah, let me jump quickly into my load test. Okay. All right. So okay, I think I've got a few minutes left, but I'm just going to take advantage of this time and share my screen. So before before the show actually kicked off, I was just going through my presentation again, and I'm gonna ask Tolu in the back end to just show you my screen, which I've added. All right. So over here, I have on my GitHub repo. So as I shared earlier, my GitHub username is FruityMo. You will see there's a Contoso Traders Cloud Testing repository that I have, which I've deployed there. You can go have a look at it. And so the goal was to do an Azure load test against the fictional shopping cart that I have here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Azure portal, as you can see. And to start off with load testing, right? You just going to go to all resources. And then you're going to click create. Okay, and then you're going to type in Azure. Okay, let me zoom. Let me zoom in so that you can see. Okay, so once you've started typing Azure load, you'll see there's load balance and load testing. You're going to click on load testing. Okay. And then this is the service that we're going to use.
Hi,
You'll
Labor.
see,
Can you hear me?
so since, yes, Tolu, I'm out of time,
Okay.
aren't I? I literally
All
could
right. We have
60
5 minutes
seconds.
more. Yeah. Thank you.
Allow me. All right. Thank you. So you click on Azure load testing. So what I wanted to mention is that now that it's generally available, we actually have a lot of partners that have published more solutions into the marketplace, and so you can check that out and use whichever option is good for you. So over here, as you could see, it tells us a little bit about Azure load testing, and I'm just gonna say create. Okay, and then you're going to choose your subscription, and then you are going to choose your resource group. If you don't have any resource groups, you can just say create new. So I'm just going to use my demo resource group, and then you're going to give it your instance a name. So I'm going to call it global Azure boot camp, and then yeah. All right. And then you can choose where to host it. So at the moment, it's currently not available in my local data center in South Africa. So I'm going to choose a data center closest to me. So the service, I'm going to choose US2. And then I'm going to say review and create. Okay, it passed all the validation. So it's currently creating it and it's deploying. Okay. And it should be done in a few seconds. I just want to be able to show you how to actually do the load test, but I do. Okay, yay, it's done. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the resource. Okay, and then I'm gonna click on quick test. As you saw, there was an option for me to upload a custom JMeter script. And over here, I need to put in an endpoint, so it could be my Contoso app, or I could just use, I'm just going to copy the Azure website and use that. And then over here, I'm going to specify the type of load. As you can see here, I can either do it as a number of virtual users or as request per second. Okay. So I'm of virtual users. The maximum number of virtual users you can have is 2,500. If you want more, you can scale it across different tests. And over here, I'm going to specify the test as 120 seconds, which is 2 minutes. And I'm not going to ramp it up. And I'm going to say run the test. So by the way, you can even have like 5 virtual users for your test, right? Because we're out of time, I just wanted to run it so that you can actually see how easy it is to perform a load test and actually see the results of the load test. So yeah. Any questions, Tolu? I think this has like 60 seconds left and then it's done.
Okay. No questions. No questions for now. But if we have questions later during the program, the event, I would definitely bring you back on. But no questions for now. Thank you so much, Labor, for
All right.
sharing your
Thank you,
knowledge with us.
Tolu. Yeah, so thank you so much for having me. And for everyone who's watching, I will maybe just do like a short 5-minute recording just so they could, see the analysis of the results. But at least I was able to just do a quick demo. So really thank you for having me.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. For everyone who is joining us, especially if you're a beginner, Lebo has made it so easy for you to, learn how to do that even with the demo. So thank you once again, Labor, for, sharing that great knowledge with us. So I'm going to be handing over to Oluwapelumi Faponda, who is going to be, taking over from me. I'm passing the button along to him. So he's going to be introducing the next speaker. So it's great to have you here, Pelumi. Now the show is yours.
Okay. All right. So I'm actually delighted to introduce to you guys the next speaker. So his name is Ileriayo Adebi. So Ileriayo is a cloud native engineer at Container Solutions, where he's helping global organizations become cloud native. He's also an ambassador of the Cloud Native Computing Foundation and co-organizer of Kubernetes Community Days KCD Africa, championing the development, growth, and adoption of cloud native in Africa. He is the creator of Get Going with Kubernetes, a free program that helps people learn Kubernetes and cloud native technologies. He is the lead maintainer of the Superstar OSS project Markdown badges. There's a link if you want to get that. I think I'll drop it in the chat. On the side, he consults and provides training for startups that need direction in the area of technology. So you can speak to him about things you need to know about cloud native, DevOps, and SRE. And you can also follow him on Twitter at Ileriayo. So the Ayo is Ileri, AYO triple O on Twitter, and also on LinkedIn, where he writes about tech, opportunities, and growth. Um, Let us eagerly anticipate the knowledge, inspiration, and wisdom that Ileriayo is about to share with us. So please join me in welcoming Ileriayo. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity. Can you hear me clearly? Just to confirm.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm just going to check my slides. Yeah, so my slides should be up there. So I'll be talking about secret management, the cloud native way. So first of all, who am I? My name is Iliri Ayoadebi, Iliri for short. I'm a senior cloud native engineer at Container Solutions. At Container Solutions, we help companies globally become cloud native, essentially. I'm also an ambassador at the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. I am very, very interested in Kubernetes, and so I've taken all three certifications. So I'm certified as a Kubernetes administrator, as a Kubernetes application developer, and a Kubernetes security specialist. So that's also my social media handle on the bottom left, Illyria with three O's at the end on Twitter. You can also find me on LinkedIn, my full name, Illyria DB. Yeah, so the I'm just going to move to the next slide. So this is the agenda for my talk. I'm going to be giving an introduction, of course, the problem, and I'm going to talk about an open source, project that is a solution to the problem, which I will explain later on. I'm going to be talking about that project, then I'll talk about how it works, and if there is some time, I'll do just a little bit of demo. I'm not sure the time will be enough for that, but let's see how it goes. Yep. I'm moving to the next slide. So the intro, then that's the problem, of course. Let's look at what the problem is and let's talk about the solution. So just like Libo mentioned, typically you have people develop applications. Let's say you have this beautiful app, your e-commerce app, and it connects to the database, and of course to some other service, your app is looking all good, shiny, and it's looking fit for investment. All right, but then as your the complication of your apps, increases, you begin to see things, especially in the cloud native world, will have multiple instances of your application, or you can call them services or microservices, and of course connecting to the databases, connecting to other services. And as you keep going that way, the application gets bigger and bigger and connects to multiple services. All right, so this is usually the case for applications that scale, and that's what we're going to be looking at. But in this my talk, we're looking at secret management. But yeah, your simple app, I'm just going to go back 2 slides before this one. So you have this your simple application, all right, that has a connection to a database and to some other maybe cloud service. Things are pretty simple. Your application needs credentials to connect to a database, and of course you can pass those credentials very easily. But as you scale, there are multiple services that you're connecting to, and then that's multiple credentials that you need to access multiple services. And of course, this other diagram, shows us that the more the complexity of your application, as the complexity increases, you have many secrets to manage, essentially, and you would want to have a secure way to do that. And that's what we're looking at in this particular talk. So now, I'm just going to read through these slides. This is just what I just explained. And it says that you can end up with hundreds of secrets to manage. Now, it could be hard to rotate secrets. Of course, part of the things that you want to have in your application is secrets rotation. All right. And it could be hard to onboard new services as well. These are the challenges that you face in a multi-service and in a multi-environment setup in Kubernetes. Typically, when we mention cloud native, a lot of people associate cloud native with Kubernetes. All right, and so that's what I'm talking about. So in a multi-service environment, you have a lot of services, and it may be hard to onboard new ones. Of course, it might also be hard to onboard new people with accesses, and distributing secrets securely can be a pain. So those are some of the challenges, and I'll move to the next slide. But what we want to have, or what this solution is in the cloud native way, is how about having some place where your secrets are stored, all right, externally. You're not putting your secrets in your Kubernetes environment per se, but you're storing these secrets in somewhere like Azure Key Vault, or another cloud provider's secret management service, like AWS SSM as well, or HashiCorp Key Vault, and how about storing those secrets there? Because those systems are built for, the purpose of storing secrets securely. Kubernetes, first of all, is not a system for storing secrets. So if you're familiar with Kubernetes, you would agree with me that, by default, your secrets are not encrypted. All right, so Kubernetes is not a silver bullet for all problems. All right, Kubernetes does one thing, and it does it really well, helps you to scale, your systems. But when it comes to secret management, Kubernetes is not, all the perfect thing for that. So how about, extending the functionality of Kubernetes, and you have your system, your secret management system, where you're storing secrets, and Kubernetes somehow syncs the secrets into your cluster. So Kubernetes talks to a secret provider like Azure Key Vault, and it retrieves secrets from there. So if I just take us back a few slides, before this one. Yeah. So you have all of these microservices, all right, with their various credentials. And like we said, one of the challenges is secret rotation. But if you have your secret stored in something like Azure Key Vault, battle-tested Key Vault, Azure Key Vault, you can have secret rotation right there in Key Vault. You can have your secrets encrypted at rest. That's one of the the security measure that we like to take in the cloud environment. You can have all of those things, all of those checks in place, and Kubernetes just talks to that provider and syncs the secrets in. So that's what this talk is about. So I'm going to move forward to next slide. So something to sync secrets, that's what we're looking at. So if you look at this diagram here, you have to the left, you have, your services in Kubernetes in your cluster. And, to the right, you have like a secret provider outside there. Then in between, you have something that syncs secrets from the provider to your cluster and, the other way around as well. So that solution, all right, is called the external secrets operator. And it's now a project in the CNCF landscape. It got in the CNCF landscape just several months ago, which is a good one. It means that the community has adopted or has accepted that as a very good solution for managing secrets in the cloud native world. So what's the appeal of syncing secrets, synchronizing secrets? For instance, I mentioned that you can have your secret stored in Azure Key Vault or some other, secret management platform. And, there are integrations that this helps you with, all right? So it can be used with other services besides Kubernetes. Of course, you have several other applications that need access to several systems, all right? So storing it in that place, in that central location, helps you, work with all the other systems. So integrations are fine, work seamlessly. And of course, we said that you're keeping your secrets in a battle-tested environment. Azure Key Vault was built for that purpose. Kubernetes was not built to secure your secrets. So that's an added advantage, and you're abstracting away the access, of course, from users of your Kubernetes clusters or administrators who are not supposed to have access. So you're managing accesses to your secrets securely in that format. Of course, and you can use great, functionalities of these secret management platforms like encryption at rest and, secret rotation. Of course, you have, the second to the last point there says you are avoiding access to the actual secrets. So you're not giving somebody who's not supposed to have access, access that, just you're not opening your systems for, just blanket access. That's what that means. Then environment-specific secrets would say manifest. These are the appeal of synchronizing your secrets, within providers. And I'll move to the next slide. Now, this solution, how did it come about? All right. So sometime, during the COVID period, some people, began to think along these lines because they found out that Kubernetes itself was not the solution for secret management, even though Kubernetes is a very great system, or, like people call it today, platform. All right. I'm a big fan of Kubernetes. But of course, like I said earlier, it's not a silver bullet for all your problems. So people sat down and they felt, okay, we needed something that can help us get the best of both worlds, all right, the best out of Kubernetes and the best out of secret management platforms, all right. And this was how it began, during the COVID period. So there were several discussions on, on a particular GitHub project, or which is called Kubernetes External Secrets. All right, I believe it was started by GoDaddy at the time. It had 2K stars, 2,000 stars on GitHub, and people came and began to, talk about this problem in that particular issue. Then people began to suggest solutions, and you have, all of these links over here on this page shows, the several solutions that people came up with. Of course, we had that from AWS SSM. Somebody built that one for just AWS SSM. There's a secrets manager. Someone else built that one. Of course, the GoDaddy solution as well, which was 2K stars, where all of this began from. We had the secret store CSI driver, which is still in place. But of course, the company that I work with, Container Solutions, we're also working on something all right, which is called the external secret operator. That's the first link up there. And people began to have conversations along that line. Moving to the next slide. And yeah, so this is what people began to say. Several people said we could consider merging, with one or other providers. But for some, they just had one provider. For instance, let me explain what that means. Some people built a tool that could work with only one secret management provider. For instance, this AWS secrets operator was meant to work with just AWS. All right, and we had others like that were just for a specific use case. So it didn't cut across for the entire ecosystem. All right, and so then the steps that were taken was to provide a standard implementation for external secrets. All right, and would have a common CRD. All right, as the first step for that. All right, then we'll state how things should be done. So this was the blueprint for how to get this solved. And of course, this is the flow of everything, just put in this diagram, which you can have a look at, later on. But I'll move to the next slide. So how does it work? How does this solution actually work? I'm going to talk very quickly about something called the operator and the controller pattern in Kubernetes. So for those familiar with Kubernetes, how we know that, when you, for instance, you create a pod in Kubernetes. Now pods are ephemeral, all right? Something could just happen to a pod and the pod can get terminated. It could be starved of memory, resources, and it just goes. It's ephemeral, all right? But then there is this object, called deployment. You can create deployments instead of creating just a pod. And the deployment, ensures that you have a desired number of, for instance, pods running at a particular time. So if I have an application and I want to have 5 replicas, because like I said, Kubernetes helps you to undo scale, all right? It helps with scaling your application, building scalable systems, basically. So I developed this app, this e-commerce app, like Libo mentioned previously, and it's December, Christmas, during Christmas, and we have a lot of people, rushing into that e-commerce website to place orders for their loved ones and what have you. So I determined that I want to have, instead of one replica of my application, I want to have 50 replicas of that application so that all 50 of them can serve, customers, can serve clients. Then Kubernetes takes that, desired state. And what Kubernetes does is it ensures that your actual state or the current state of your application matches what you desire, all right, using its declarative API, of course. So you would specify that this is what I want. I want to have 50 replicas. And Kubernetes says, no problems, you can go to bed. I'll ensure that you're always having 50 replicas. So at any point in time, if a pod, which is ephemeral, if it fails or if it dies off, Kubernetes, keeps on checking. There's a loop that Kubernetes keeps on checking to see at a particular time, you could see that, oh, you now have 45 pods instead of 50 pods. Then it creates more. All right. If for some reason it goes above that number, it terminates some. So there's this loop. All right. I called it autopilot at some time, all right, on social media. So there's this thing that keeps on happening. So it checks, it observes the system, it observes what your actual state is, then it checks against the desired state, and it tries to reconcile, the system. So it's also called the reconciliation loop. That's what, this does for you in Kubernetes. I'll move to the next slide. Now, this is just, further explaining what I mentioned earlier. So you have a user, of course, now in this particular case, all right, like I said, Kubernetes is not a silver bullet for all problems. However, Kubernetes allows you to extend its functionality. All right, Kubernetes gives you that. That's one of the beauty about Kubernetes. Even though it doesn't solve all problems, it has been designed in a way that you can now build on top of it what you want. So you can create custom resources. So if you're familiar with Kubernetes, resources are things like, or objects, all right, are things like pods, like config maps, like secrets. And you could do things like kubectl get pods. It shows you a list of all the pods that you have in that particular namespace. You could do the same thing for the config map, kubectl get config map. So those are resources that are part of the Kubernetes API. But Kubernetes has allowed you to be able to extend itself. So you can create custom resources, all right, for whatever use case you have. And in this case, we are looking to, do something about secrets. So secrets, like I said earlier, are not encrypted by default. Secrets are, you want to build a system that can synchronize secrets from a more secure platform into your cluster. All right. I'll just talk some more about that. Now, if you're perhaps a DevOps engineer, a platform engineer, a Kubernetes administrator, so typically you write your manifests, okay, and you possibly, if you're following the GitOps process, you push your manifest to somewhere like GitHub or Bitbucket or GitLab, and you store them there. But for the case of secrets, all right, Kubernetes secrets, if you write your manifests and you put them in GitHub, that's you're exposing sensitive data, all right, because you're storing password and username, for instance, in GitHub. That's a, you're increasing the blast radius, and you do not want to do that. So typically what you do is you go to your cluster and you create the secrets, all right, perhaps locally or somehow, maybe you log on to wherever platform it is, and you just create these things without pushing, the secrets onto GitHub. That's how some people would do that, but I don't know. I don't think that's scalable, all right? You want to have, if you have thousands of secrets, all right, thousands, like we saw earlier in the multi-service environment, all right, you have, okay, am I running out of time?
You have 3 minutes left.
3 minutes, you say?
Yeah, 3 minutes.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to just wrap this up very shortly. Thank you very much, Pelumi. So you have your secrets, and you do not want to store those secrets somewhere in GitHub, to avoid a risk, a security risk. And so we've built this operator called Kubernetes External Secrets Operator that allows you, synchronize secrets between a secret provider and your cluster. And so this is how it works using the controller pattern. And of course, we create custom resources. So I'll just move on because of time. I'll move to the next slide. Now, these are the APIs that we built in that custom, operator, in that custom environment. We call this the secret store and the cluster secret store. And of course, we have the external secrets and the cluster external secrets. So these are basically two objects, the secret store itself and the external secrets. Of course, when you have cluster secret store, it means it can be used cluster wide, all right? It's not scoped to a namespace. That's just the difference between the cluster and, and for instance, the difference between secret store and cluster secret store is a secret store is scoped to a namespace, but cluster secret store isn't. All right, but we have these two objects, secret store. The secret store defines where that store is, the secret store itself, like it says, for instance, Azure Key Vault. Now you write your manifest to define, how to access that Azure Key Vault. That's where what you define in secret store. But of course, in your Key Vault, you could have thousands of secrets. Then the external secrets is how you define which particular secrets you want. So that's what this solution is about. And of course, in the next several slides, we just have some manifest to explain that. But I'll pause here, and I would say that the external secrets operator helps you solve this problem in a cloud native way. That project itself, has been adopted and accepted into the cloud native, ecosystem, the cloud native landscape. And you can sync between your cluster and the provider in both ways. So you can push secrets from your cluster to the provider or from the provider to your cluster. So I think, thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll just be introducing the next moderator. I don't know if he's here right now. I'll be introducing Henry to come and take over. Hi, Henry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
So the floor is yours. You can continue.
All right, thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow Azure enthusiasts, it's with great excitement that I welcome you to this session, and I'm glad to introduce the speaker for the next session, Evelyn Madubuko. Evelyn is more than just a technology guru. She's a visionary who has dedicated her career to harnessing the power of technology to revolutionize business and IT generally. Her relentless pursuit of knowledge has rendered her experts in the realm of Microsoft 365 and Azure Cloud, providing her with an unparalleled understanding of these domains. Evelyn's expertise is not just confined to technical knowledge alone. She has a proven track record in project management, where she employs her profound understanding of risk analysis and mitigation to consistently deliver projects that exceed expectations. This multifaceted skill sets distinguishes Evelyn as a strategic thinker capable of anticipating challenges and proactively devising solutions that ensure system availability, reliability, security, and scalability. What truly sets Evelyn apart is our unwavering commitment to drive change. She's a catalyst, constantly striving to leverage technology to redefine boundaries and foster progress. Whether it's adeptness, our Microsoft technologies, our proficiency in managing complex IT infrastructures, or our knack for identifying and mitigating risk, Evelyn's contributions to the field has been instrumental in pushing the envelope of what's possible. Today, we are privileged to hear from her. She'll be speaking to us about administrative units in Azure Active Directory. So we look forward to a session filled with profound insights that will undoubtedly spark innovation, challenge our thinking, and pave the way for new possibilities in the realm of Azure Active Directory. So without much ado, let's welcome our speaker, Evelyn Madubuko, as she takes the virtual stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Henry. That was an amazing introduction. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining in. My name is Evelyn, and I'm happy you came on this presentation. So, today I'm going to be talking about Azure Active Directory, the administrative unit in Azure Active Directories. Please hold on while I get my slides. Okay, thank you for joining once again. So my name is Evelyn, and today we are discussing the administrative units in the Azure Active Directory. So let me paint a scenario for you. We have a lot of big enterprise companies in the world. We have universities, schools, institutions that have different locations. So they have locations all over the world, and then they need to separate each location in different units. So you don't want to have people in the US managing the people in Nigeria and vice versa. So this is where the administrative unit comes in. So what is an administrative unit? An administrative unit is an Azure AD resource that can be a container for other Azure AD resources. An administrative unit can contain only users, groups, or devices. So as I was saying, if you have a company or if you work in a global institution and that has branches in Tokyo, Nigeria, Berlin, different places, and you need to separate your workers or your staff in different units without giving one person the role to manage all units. So you need to have different managers for different units. So you can go ahead and create an administrative unit for each unit and then put them there. So administrative units restrict permissions in a role to any portion of your organization that you define. You could, for example, use administrative unit to delegate the help desk administrator role to the regional support specialists so they can manage users only in the region that they support. So that's clear. Let's move on. So I have a diagram coming up, and yeah, so this uh, four different administrative units. I wanted to make this clear so you can see them. So you can actually create an administrative unit from the M365 Admin Center, the Azure portal, PowerShell, or you can create one using a Microsoft Graph. So these are 4 administrative units for an institution like a university. So there's the School of Business, the School of Engineering, we have the security team, and then the executive team, right? So the School of Business has 4 users and 3 groups in it. Okay, so the School of Engineering has 3 users and 2 groups, right? The security team has 3 users and 4 devices, and then we have the executive team. Okay, so behind, if you look on the radar, you'd see that there are 3 roles assigned from the School of Business administrative unit. And those 3 roles are the user admin, the group admin, and then the help desk admin. So these roles are going to manage just the School of Business. It doesn't matter how many people are there. These roles would manage just the School of Business and not, go ahead to manage the other administrative units. Please note that the administrative units cannot be nested. So this means that you cannot put one administrative unit into another. So you see, we have some groups inside, the School of Business and School of Engineering. So you cannot go ahead and take one whole administrative unit and put into another. So take note of that. Administrative units lets us subdivide your organization into any units that you want, and then assign specific administrators that can manage only the members of that unit. Okay, and then also note that when you put a group in an administrative unit, that doesn't give the user admin or the help desk admin the right to reset their password. No, it doesn't give them rights over the user. So it gives them rights on the group and not the users in the group. So take note of that. So moving on, we'll see how a group. Okay, so these are some prerequisites you need to know before, going ahead to create an administrative unit. So first, for each administrative unit's administrator, you would need the P1 or P2 license, the Azure AD Premium P1 or P2 license, right? And then you need the Azure AD free licenses for administrative unit members, okay? And then for you to create an administrative unit, you would have to be a privileged role administrator or a global admin, all right? Then if you want to use PowerShell, you need the Azure AD model downloaded or installed in PowerShell. And then you would need the admin consent if you're using Graph Explorer for Microsoft Graph. Okay, so moving on. Using on the slides. So these are the permissions or what you can do to groups in an administrative unit. So adding a group to an administrative unit brings the group itself, like I mentioned earlier, you're bringing the group into the management scope of the AU and not the members of the group. So you cannot go ahead and try to reset user passwords and yeah, you can't reset user passwords, you can't manage user authentication methods, you can't manage user properties for the individual members of the group. You can only manage the name of the group or manage the membership of the group. Okay, so moving on. I'm gonna using on the slide. Okay, so how to manage an AU, right? You can manage an AU by using the Azure portal, PowerShell commandlets, or scripts. You can manage it using Microsoft Graph API. Yeah, so you can create or delete an administrative unit. You can add users, groups, or devices to an AU. You can manage users or devices for an AU using the dynamic membership role. I'm going to actually be doing a demo on that to demonstrate how you do that with the dynamic membership role. You can also assign Azure AD roles within the administrative unit scope. So let's move on. And yeah, okay, so this diagram, shows permissions and what you can do using each portal. So like I said earlier, we can use the Microsoft Graph or PowerShell, we can use Azure portal, or we can use M365 Center to manage an AU. But you can create or delete AUs using any of the above mentioned platforms. You can add or remove users. You can assign administrative unit scope admins. You can, yeah, you can also add or remove users or devices dynamically, but you cannot do that on M365. You can only do that on Azure or the Microsoft Graph. And then you cannot add groups using the dynamic preview. So you can add users, you can add devices, but you cannot add groups using the dynamic preview on any of the mentioned platforms. So moving on. And this diagram shows how you can manage users, the permissions you have on users. So an administrative unit scope management of user properties passwords, meaning you can reset the passwords of users in your AU. Administrative unit scope management of user licenses, you can give or take away licenses. Administrative unit scope blocking and unblocking of user sign-ins, yeah, so just like the term says, the help desk admin can do the regular help desk things. Then administrative unit scope management of user MFA credentials, you cannot do that on M365 platform. Please take notes. And moving on. So I'll be showing you another diagram shortly. So this is group management, the permissions you have over groups. So like I said before, you can only, you can create and delete groups. You can, the management of group properties and their memberships for M365 groups. You can do that from M365. But the management of admin unit scope, group properties and membership for other groups, not on M365, you can't do that on M365. Yeah, and then group licensing, you can give and take away licenses for the group. So moving on. And then device permissions. So you cannot enable, disable, delete devices on M365. You can do that on the Azure portal. You can do that via Microsoft Graph or PowerShell, but you cannot do that on the M365 admin center. You also cannot read BitLocker, you cannot recover read BitLocker keys via M365, but you can do that on the Azure portal or the Microsoft Graph. And that comes to the end of my little presentation. So now I'll be doing a demo. Yeah, I'll go ahead and jump into my portal shortly. Hold on, let me share my screen, please. I'm trying to share my screen. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so let me go ahead and share window. Okay, hold on, please. Okay, so can you see my screen, please? I don't know if. Okay, so I guess you can see my screen. So this is an AU. This is how you create. So this is my Azure portal, right? And under roles and admins, you're going to see administrative units. Yeah, admin units. Hold on. So let me just go ahead. So you can see I currently have 3 administrative units. And yeah, I have 3 administrative units created. I pre-created this Azure NG one just because sometimes when you try to create an AE, it could take a couple minutes for it to reflect. So I didn't want to waste time. Okay, so let me just go ahead and let me see this. Okay, yeah, they're both same. So let me just go ahead and click. Okay, so let me go ahead and add one. Yeah. So let's say you have a location in Tokyo. You want to add the department of, let's say, marketers. So you can just do marketers, marketers Tokyo. Yeah. And then, so just put in the group description, marketers in Tokyo. Yes, marketers in Tokyo. So next you can assign roles. So these are the roles you can assign. We have the group administrator, the license admin, password administrator, there's the help desk admin. So you can go ahead and assign, any role you want to. So let's say I want to assign, the help desk admin. And I can choose anybody. Okay, so let me make Amazona the help desk admin here, and then I can add, so you can see there's one assigned here. And yeah, so next we'll review and recreate. So this yeah, this is a group for marketers in Tokyo. So I could click create if I wanted to create this one. So I have some created already, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you. So this is a group I created for, yeah, I created this group for the people who work in Canada, right? And yeah, so if you'd notice, okay, let me come back here. So if you notice, you'd see the Azure NG group is the membership is assigned, but I have two other groups which are dynamic. And dynamic simply means that I can put in a query, and when I put in that query, the portal will just go ahead and pick up any account whose property falls under this query. So here I have the property is a country, and then any account whose country equals Canada would be picked up and put into the Canada EU. So that's how these three users were, put in there. And then I assigned the role of help desk admin, waiting for this to come up. Yeah, so I assigned the role of help desk admin to, yeah, so this is global admin. I assigned the role of help desk admin to Beyonce Carter. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to log into Beyonce's account incognito and then show you. Yeah, so this is me logged into Beyonce's portal, right? Now you can see the three accounts that are in the AU, right? These are the three accounts in my Canada AU, and you can see those are the only accounts you can see. So coming here to the users enter, you can see Beyonce can see all these users, right? She can visually see all of them, but she doesn't have access to reset their password. So let me go ahead and open the accounts of, let me open this account, this person. Okay, so I already have it open here. So this is Jojo, and Jojo is not in Beyonce's AU. He's not prescribed under that. So let me try and reset Jojo's password and see what happens.
Hello, Evelyn. You have about 3 minutes left.
Okay, yeah, I'm rounding up. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's me trying to reset Jojo's password. And when I click reset password, we'll see what happens. You see, password has been reset. So this is because Jojo is under Jojo is under Beyonce's EU. So let me go on another, let me click on another user and let's see. So let me try and reset, let me try this one. Try and reset this password and let's see. So let's do reset password here. Yeah, so let's see. Okay, yeah, so why this password is reset is because this is logged into, yeah, this is also one of the other ones. So let me find an account who isn't in the tenant. Hold on, please. So let me do this Ashanti. Okay, so reset password. So you see the password cannot be reset. This may be due to an incorrect level of administrative privilege. So why Beyonce is able to reset the password of those other two accounts are because they are in her AU. So this, here, so I logged into my staff.microsoft.com under Beyonce's account, and I can see the only staff she has access to are those in the Canada AU, even though there are lots of staff in that tenant. So when I click this, I'll go ahead and see the three accounts she manages, all right, which she can reset their password, if she can, yeah. So that's about it. That would be all. Yeah, so she can go ahead and reset the password if she wants. All right, thank you. Thank you for staying on
All
this
right. Thank you.
presentation with me. We're rounding up. Thank you so much for joining.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. I believe that by now our audience should have
yeah,
a better idea of what administrative units are and how to manage them. So moving on to the next person,
yeah.
we'll be having, I'm privileged to call upon the next moderator who goes by the name of Christian. Christian, are you there? Oh,
Yes, I'm
okay.
here.
All right. Thank you
Thank
so
you very much,
much. Yeah,
Henry.
you have the mic now.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much once again, Harry. So I'll be seizing this opportunity to introduce our next speaker in the person of Seyi Oluwawumiju. He's a certified Microsoft, he's a Microsoft certified trainer and a Microsoft MVP as well. Currently, let's pay keen attention as he walks us through the following topic: direction of AI on Azure with focus on open AI. So, Mr. Seyi, kindly proceed from here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Emmanuel. Kristen. Sorry, Kristen. Yeah. At least this is the first time we are seeing physically. Yeah, that's what is a virtual um, meetup. And I, I want to appreciate everyone that are giving me the opportunity to be here and to be able to take on this topic. And the topic we have right here is looking at what everybody, the buzz that is everywhere now, the open AI and Microsoft's giant slide on that. And before that, let me, just as Christian has said, this is me. My name is Oluwaseyi Oluwawumiju. I'm one of the Microsoft MVP and also a certified trainer. And you can follow me with that link on LinkedIn. That is Shey Oluwawumiju. You can follow me on LinkedIn. Then for my Twitter is at Oluwawumiju. Now, to look at the topic, and because I have just 20 minutes, and I wish I had enough time. And unfortunately, my demo, I was not able to get provision for the open AI on Azure because you have to fill a form and the likes. So I will just do some screenshots on the demo side. However, I'll take you to this slide and be able to land you in a very good place on how it. So we're going to look at this goal. We're going to look at how the recent occurrence that is happening in the generality of use of Azure and how it's related to most of Microsoft products, talking from the M365, the Power Platform, and Dynamic 365. And there's a buzz now called the co-pilot scenario. What's co-piloting? What's the direction of Microsoft on that? And afterward, we now begin to look inward. What happened? What was the genesis of ChatGPT, which is the OpenAI, and when and how the marriage happened between Microsoft and OpenAI Group, and how it has embodied that to increase and accelerate the adoption of OpenAI and ChatGPT. We're talking of ChatGPT 4 and the Chat 3.5 Turbo that is on Microsoft Azure. Then we're going to look at why do we want to run this on AI? Why do we run Azure, use Azure as a platform for AI? That finally we're going to step down to look at a demo, just as I apologize, I couldn't get myself into the platform, but I will just do my two some of the screenshots I have here to elaborate on that. Now, laying that foundation, I always want to do a quick talk on how the recent occurrence has happened. The co-piloting scenario. What is co-pilot? Why do we have that buzz across Microsoft product line? And when you are talking of your team, there is a solution now, there is an interface now that is coupled to co-pilot. When you're talking of your Microsoft Power Platform, you are using your Power Apps or using your Power BI, there is also a scenario, an integration with the platform, which is called Copilot. What is this boss about and why do we need it? So, laying that at the back of our mind, I like to quickly do this exercise. I know you are out there, we are virtually, but the first scenario perspective here is people looking severally in several directions. If I ask you, people will tell me they are looking left, you are looking right. But the main one I want us to look at is the number two. Now, in the next 30 seconds, can anybody give me the number of F in this sentence, in this word? Number of F. I'm counting, just 30 seconds. I move away. Now, can you tell me, just type, how many F do you see in that sentence or that particular word you have seen there? How many F? Can anybody see? 3, good. Any other person? Any other person? I just want 1, 2 people because of my time so that I can move ahead. Okay. Any other person? I'll go back there now. Another 20 seconds. Okay. Did anybody capture that? Any other about inputs? Okay. So because of time, we're going to look at it critically, and the only person that answer actually got it is actually 3F. And I can count it: the finish F, the 5F, and the experience. Oh, Ayobami said 2. Good. That's coming, and the scientific F. Now, Ayobami and Libo got the answer, and Ayobami also is right in his right. But the truth is that every perception of what we have in front of us, sometimes we have this technology handy around us, but we forget because we don't really pay much attention to it. We forget the effect of it. And that's why we see this buzz about ChatGPT. What has happened? This was the same AI solution that we have in community service. But the truth is that the community service is based on certain criteria, which is limited to individual solution. We have the machine learning studio we have in Azure, and that also can help you to create algorithm model that can streamline your business, whether small or large enterprise, or even a medium-sized enterprise, a business, where you can streamline your algorithm and ensure it can help you to land to your deliverable. But all this buzz of today, ChatGPT, what is it all about? It's about an interface, a solution, an algorithm that was built to be able to address internet-facing content, and it's developed on what we call a generative AI lead, a more of generating solution of a content that have been given to the model. So with that, we look at several things that has happened. Just I said earlier, that sometimes you see something that is close to you, but because we don't really see the intent of it, we normally avoid or ignore it. Now, in the past, Microsoft has built so many superb solutions across most of its product line. For teams, you can actually do team capturing and transcription. Those days, before you can do transcription, you have to upload your language model, ensure this model will influence with your application. For today, with Microsoft Team and the onboardment of AI in Microsoft backend, you can easily do screen capturing and transcription. We have content and design production in PowerPoint. I remember when you are doing PowerPoint presentation in those days, you have to import diagram, import text, ensure the text meets with the texture of the color. But today, with PowerPoint, Microsoft has infused the ability of using AI, using natural language to be able to diffuse and infuse you to the proper content that you need for your presentation. And I can go on and on to even to the biometric detection when you have in your Windows 10, Windows 11, Hello, because in the recent time, there is a verge and there's a move to remove password from our core usage, especially because of security. So all this tells us that AI has always been with us. But what has happened? Microsoft, in the recent time, brought the boss called a co-pilot. What is co-pilot? Why do we need co-pilot? Now, before that, I will give you a scenario of mine. That's a dog I got online. I don't have a dog, although, but I love dogs. I once lost my dog then when I was growing. His name is Whiskey. This is a dog. There's going to be a co-pilot today. Now, what is the essence of co-piloting? Co-piloting is a sequence by which we see, especially if you have traveled before. Now, in the essence of a travel, we have what we call the pilot and the co-pilot. The pilot himself actually steer the aeroplane. He's saddled with the responsibility of landing. He's saddled with the responsibility of routing. He's saddled with the responsibility of giving the proper guide to land that plane at the right point. What is the co-pilot going to do? The co-pilot is going to ensure that he's supporting that particular plane in case the pilot have an issue, in case there's a disruption somewhere. Now, the infusion of Copilot across most of Microsoft product, Microsoft Team, Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Power Platform is to enhance what we call a collaboration between the AI-enabled environment and the application that which we want to use to land our products. That now means that co-piloting is not taking AI is not taking up a job, but it's helping you to enhance the way you prompt and you are able to use it. OpenAI and ChatGPT is actually a methodology by which we have a way we develop our AI algorithm to ensure there is what we call a generative solution to our request. Now, Azure and OpenAI coming together is a standpoint to ensure a direction in technology that will change the way our product line from application to productivity to our workplace and even to our daily no code, low code system. What it means is that we are generating a system that help you to bring about solution that can be prompted. We know from the evolution of artificial intelligence, when we have the cognitive surveys, then we have the machine learning algorithm, then we went to the deep learning scenario where you have deep model to have deep scenario in terms of business algorithm to ensure large scale data can be easily mined and easily influenced to give us solutions that can change the way our business move. We now comes to the issue of generative AI, where we generate the subsets that can easily prompt us. That means you infuse a particular content, and that content help you get out the solution. Now, the open AI model from the ChatGPT environment residing on Azure AI runs on certain model. One of them is GPT-3, which help you to generate human-like text and platform language for translation. And we have the Codex, which is a system that generates computer code for software developers, people that are out there that develop code. Now, the prompt here is that you have a lead, you have a content, you give it to the algorithm prompts you to the right direction. You want to build a code to your GitHub solution. You prompt the GitHub with a co-pilot, it can enhance and enable you to have the right code you need. Then we have the DALL-E. DALL-E is more like image generating system that allow users to produce arts, sectionalized diagram, variants of your diagram to ensure each of them meet your production line. The open AI brings us to a point in the fusion of how to be able to use our system to ensure the enhancement of our products. I'll do a brief demo in the in next few minutes once I go through this slide. Then we have why do we need Azure for AI? Now we have seen the buzz that's happening. We have seen what Microsoft have done that we have seen in the past that have enhanced the production and enabled us to have a better way of having our products land properly. Now, we now see how Microsoft is building its infrastructure and enabling it on AI. Why do we need AI? What's the essence of AI? What is the what is in AI? Now, looking at the landscape of research that have been done for a couple of years, Microsoft always invests billions of dollars in the research. And one of the research they have done the recent time is to look at the landscape of what is the next thing. And the next thing is an environment to enable AI to empower users, empower IT professionals, empower developers to learn those things they do as their core practice every day at the right time. And the research I've seen across um, speech recognition to machine translation to conversation to object detection, and we have seen a large landscape, landscape progression across all these fields. And that also fuel the capability of why we need AI. Now, three main things I look at why we need Azure to onboard us to the next level. One, because it's a platform that can help you to build your framework because it has standard framework um, terms that's already incorporated into Azure environment that can enable you to easily follow the standard industry practice to get there when it comes to cloud offering. Two, because of Microsoft is now the world supercomputer. That means referring to Microsoft Azure because of its capability and its processing capability across each, it has been built with the power to be able to turbo less scalability of AI algorithm. And that give it a better suit to be able to power the next generation of AI. The third one, which I hold very critical, is responsibility, to be responsible when you are deploying AI. We know that every time there's a good, there's always a bad. And because of the bad sequence in the society, then there should be principle guiding governance and guiding guidance that can help us through it. Azure has all these things embedded in the system. And that also takes us to look at several portfolios that have run across Azure, running from the developer angle of it, also from the infrastructure, from low code, no code. We can see each of these AI portfolio sit properly with Azure, and it can easily be enhanced. Researchers have said that Azure is now the world supercomputer. Out of all the 5 top ranked computers that we have in the cloud, Azure sit as one of the best. Until now, that has not changed, even with the revolution that is happening in the AI industry. We're going to move closely as I begin to round up to look at OpenAI plus Azure, which is equal to ChatGPT 4. Now, Microsoft Open is preview to ChatGPT 3.5 to enable us to test how we can onboard our own solution. We have a cognitive service already running already, but we are bringing in an enhancement, an enablement that can help us out and enable us to inject into the future and have a better say in terms of our production. So why we have combination, the marriage between OpenAI and Azure and Microsoft. Now, there's certain text that was done, certain statistic that was done. One of those statistics that was carried out is Azure compute throughput per GPU when you are trying to run it on large scale AI. Because ChatGPT actually is a public facing algorithm that can be scalable with large data, and it can easily give you results and prompt you to have a better direction. Now, when that was done on Azure, it was found out that when you use 178 billion parameters, Azure was 4 times better than every competitor over there. Another one is when they use it against 1 terabyte, it was 2 times better than its competitor around there. Another fact that why the combination of OpenAI and Azure is trying to base it on the interface of query that is done at the money you spend on your cloud consumption. It was noted that Azure at every interval was able to have 2.31x in terms of interface query against the money you spend on consuming it. That tells us that even at this point, Azure still can cultivate the rulership of using AI to ensure that we get our product, get our delivery of our application at the right place at the right time. Now, with OpenAI workload, it can run across several AI provisions. One of them is generating natural language. Two, the complexity of text also is also something that we need to look at, and that can also be onboarded, enabling classifying text, generating code, and
Hello,
generally making images more accessible and more creative.
hello, say
Yeah,
3 minutes.
my time is up.
No, you've got 3 minutes left.
3 minutes. Okay. So with that 3 minutes, I'll just run with 1 minute with this. Now, Azure OpenAI services still enhance the current AI service we have, cognitive service and machine learning. It also can be integrated in almost all Microsoft product line from Microsoft 365 run down to Bing, which is the interface for the browsing. Then you can also see once you want to boot into the OpenAI, I'll quickly share my screen in the next 2 minutes, and I hope I can do this. Well, cannot share my screen. Okay, so I'll quickly share my screen. And now this is ChatGPT, which is interface with IRM, PRM. Now you can see you can onboard, write content, but where we are going is Azure. Now this is an OpenAI environment. Once you come into the environment, is requesting you to have your account, especially your account, to be able to onboard yourself to the OpenAI environment. Then you create an Azure OpenAI. Unfortunately for me, because I'm not it's still on preview, I was not given access to that. So how do you get access to it? Once you create it, you now be able to run on your environment. That environment is where we call the playground, where you can actually will prompt your data against what you are expecting from the result, and the AI environment will help you to do that. So you ask for access. There's a form that Microsoft requests. You ask for access to be whitelisted. Once you are whitelisted, you now go on and request for the access. And this, I'll drop the link. When you request, or he asks you for the tenant ID, your subscription ID, then it takes some couple of days before they can provision your OpenAI environment. I couldn't get that done. That's why I couldn't do more practical. I do more of the talk here. So let's quickly go back why I because of our time, and I quickly round up by taking us to one aspect that I don't want us to miss, which is prompt engineering. Prompt engineering. Now, there's another engineering aspect that is coming, another portfolio that is coming for people that want to go into OpenAI, which is called prompt engineering. Now we know OpenAI is built on generative AI model. That means every content you produce or you infuse need a prompt. Now, those prompts can be specialists that actually will help the algorithm, the model, to be able to give you a landed solution. That's why some people say they put some question on ChatGPT, it prompted them outward, outside what they want. So with a prompt engineer, this is a very skillful environment that anybody that wants to go into this can actually leverage on, because everything you do on OpenAI is based on prompt and completion. And from prompt, you infuse your data, the algorithm look at the data and help you to get a proper solution that is required. Sorry for our time. I have to rush myself, and Christian is already waiting for me. And I say that's all for now. If you have any question, you can follow me, and I'll be of help to give you more clarification. Yeah, Christian.
Okay. Thank you very much. The presentation is informative and a lot. I'm sure the audio were equipped of Azure. So introduce hear me from me.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. This is amazing. Wow, we actually have an amazing time this evening in the Global Azure Day 2023. Yeah, our speaker, they've really done a lot of justice to most of the topics. Now we are going into our quiz section. So please, if you know you really want to win prize, because there are a lot of prize to be won. So just make sure you just make sure you glue your face to the screen and then grab the answer and then put in your answer through. You have just 20 seconds for each quiz section. So I'm going to share my screen right now and then we go straight into the quiz. Okay, just give it a second. Okay, right now on your screen, so you're going to see I hope you can see my screen. So if you can see my screen, just let me know. Just put it on the comment section that you can see my screen. Yeah, so what you need to do now, just go to this www.cowards.it and then put in that pin, or just scan. If you have your phone, just scan the QR code there and then put in the pin. Once you put in the game pin, then you should be able to come in now. So please, I'm going to be waiting for people to come in right now. Once you come in, I'm going to lock the room. So I'm waiting for you. Just go to that site, www.cowards.it, or just scan this barcode and then use the pin. And then I should be able to see you on my screen.
Yemi, I think you're sharing the wrong screen. Yemi, I think you're sharing the
Oh,
wrong screen. Or have you
okay.
started the quiz or something? Because I'm seeing something else.
No, what can you see on my screen? I think.
Stats. Click on the stats. I think you need to click on stats. I'm just seeing the Kahoots, but I don't know. You're not the screen you're sharing is showing the questions, the whole of the questions. I mean,
Okay, I think I've clicked on start now. So can you see my screen now?
what I can
Uh,
see, right, just shows, it doesn't show the Kahoot page. Probably they need to go to kahoot.it, then that's the quiz. You need to
okay,
start the
yeah,
quiz.
yeah. So I've done that now. I've clicked on start. So can you
Then
can you
share
see
your
the pin?
screen
Can you see the
because
game pin? Hold on.
No. That what is the screen sharing is something different.
Okay, let me stop my screen and share it again. Okay.
Yes, so you need to click on start.
Yeah, I think they need to join
Click on
before I click on start. Yeah, start is not active, not until they join.
So can you see the start button on your left by assign? You need to click on that. On your left, not right. Left.
Uh, no start button there. I'm not.
All right, probably share my screen then. Just a minute.
Yeah, so I think what they need to do that once they start coming in, that's where I can click on this start. Yeah, this start is actually grayed out. Yeah, the start is grayed out, so I can't even click on it now. I think they have to
Just a few
come in
minutes,
once.
Yemi.
Okay,
Just a few
just
minutes.
hold on.
Yeah,
Let me.
just a few minutes while I rectify this.
Hello, Promise. Let me share my screen. Let me share the game pin. Can you hear me?
Yes, Imo, I can hear you. I have actually started from my end,
Let me.
but I don't know if you see the
Oh, all
start
right.
screen.
Share your screen then. Share your screen.
All right, I'll proceed to do that. Just a minute. Um, just a minute. Uh, All right, so the game pin is up. Yemi, do you want to take it up from here? Yemi, can you see the game screen?
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I think I can see it now. Yeah.
All right. So the pin is 3572395.
Okay. So are you sharing your screen, right?
You can't see my screen. You're not able to
Okay.
see
Yeah.
my
Yeah. I can
screen.
see. Yeah. I can see it. I can see it. I can see your screen now. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know someone is asking to type in the game pin. Let me put this here. Say pin
Or
is
they could just
three
scan that
five
barcode
seven
and then put in the pin.
2395. Okay, so I see someone. Please also ensure you memorize your code, your whatever name you're making use of, so that you can be able to participate properly and we can know who and who is joining. Okay, let's start up since we just have three people.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. I
others
think we have
can
just
join in
three people on it.
anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, so others can join in. All right, the quiz is started. So you have 20 seconds to answer this. I don't know if anyone is. I can see no answers have come in yet. Just one
Yes.
answer. Wow,
Wow.
interesting. Just one answer. All right, let's move on to the next
Let's
one.
move on to the next one. Yeah.
Oh, I see the winner is 3572395. I don't know who that is, but well done. On to the next one. What is Azure load testing?
Let's, so I think some people don't know how to use this stuff. That's the problem.
That's possible, true.
Oh wow.
Interesting. On to the next one.
Wow.
I
Next
see
one.
Bude
Yeah.
is leading. Nice one. That's nice. I mean, let's see who is stopping this. 3572395 is leading. Wow, that's nice. On to the next one. What is the benefit of load testing web applications?
Wow. How do you know that we
Let's
have
see.
those 20 seconds for each question? So, you have to be fast.
Yes. You have to be very fast, actually. Wow. Bala
Wow.
Blue. Nice.
Amazing.
How can Azure load testing be integrated into the software development lifecycle? That's interesting. I see. So on to the next one. Wow. 3572395 is also now leading. Nice. Let's see the next one. Who can benefit from using Azure Load Balancer? Nice.
Wow,
Nice.
wow, wow,
So
wow, wow.
let's see who is leading. Nice. 3572395 is still leading. So let's see who the next
The
person
seat
would
is
be.
getting hot.
Can a help desk admin reset password for users in a group within their administrative units?
Oh.
Interesting. Let's see.
Oh
This
wow, amazing.
Bala Blue is stopping again.
Oh
Let's
wow.
see.
Yeah,
All right.
I think
Are
because
you
you joined
able?
early.
Yeah. Are you able to enable, disable the devices in an administrative unit from the M365 admin center? Nice. All right. Let's see who is leading this
Just
time
one
around.
person. Wow. That's
Bala
Bala Blue.
Blue.
Oh wow.
Nice. Go on. By default, secrets in Kubernetes are stored. By default, secrets in Kubernetes are stored what?
Hmm.
Nice, nice.
Amazing.
Let's see who wins the next. Who is leading? Bala Blue is still
Bala,
maintaining this
Bala.
leadership. Nice.
Wow.
So Kubernetes can be extended using what?
Bala Blue, make sure you join the community. Make sure you join our community.
Who is going to win this one?
Hmm.
Wow. Let's see
This
who
is
is
getting
topping the
interesting.
charts.
Oh,
Wow,
Bala
Bala
Blue.
Blue
Wow, wow.
maintains
This
being
person is
the
almost close.
winner.
Wow.
So I think this is the last question, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
I think
AKS
that's the
stands
last.
for what?
Oh,
Nice.
wow. Amazing.
So
Four.
let's see. Let's see who are the
Uh,
winners for the session. Bude came third. 3572395 came second.
can we share the
And
screen
let's
for them to
see.
see that?
Yeah, you should see the screen where it's showing. You can see the winners on the
Oh,
screen.
oh, yeah, yeah. Oh,
So
wow. Let's clap for
Bala Blue is
Bala
the
Blue.
winner.
Bala Blue is the winner.
Oh
So, can we announce the gift for the first runner, second runner, or what do you think? Should we?
yes, yes. Go ahead to announce that, and also I think all winners can share their name, their LinkedIn addresses to azureniger@gmail.com. I'm going to be typing that out for everyone. azureniger@gmail.com. So we would like to get your name, Balablu3572. You need to show us evidence that you are who you are. Balablu
Yeah.
Bude and 3572395. You should actually show us evidence of who you really are. And the email
Yeah.
address you have to share this to is azureniger@gmail.com. So please, you need to share us your full name, your LinkedIn page, so we can tag you as the winners for the show, and probably your phone address, right? So you share it to that email which we have shared, and then of course we'll get back to you with the prizes. So Bala Blue, I would like to say thank you once again for this amazing performance here. And then also, I don't
Yeah.
know who 357222395 is, but I mean,
Yeah.
congratulations to you. Also to Bude, who became the third. You have actually done very
I've
well.
done very well. Yeah. Yeah. It
Yes,
shows that you're
yes.
listening to all the speakers, and that's amazing. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes, yes.
so we
I
want to
mean,
appreciate everyone for joining, for participating in this quiz. And don't forget that our first winner will be going home. We're winning a 50 gig of data. Can't you see that is amazing? 50 gig of data. That's for the first winner. And the second winner, we go with 20 gig of data. And the third winner goes with 10 gig of data. So please kindly make sure you send your details to that email address, and we'll definitely reach back to you. And please make sure you identify yourself properly when you are sending those details so that it can help us to know that you are really the one. Thank you very much
also
for
also
taking your
sorry,
time.
Yemi, before you round up, also please,
Mm.
if you use a particular network, maybe MTN, Airtel, Glo, 9 Mobile, please also indicate in your email address so we can know which to send to you, just in case you're making use of some network. Just indicate whether it's Airtel, MTN, 9 Mobile, Glo, anyone. Indicate your network providers, your names, your LinkedIn profiles as well. This will help us to get back to you. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just like to say thank you, everyone, for joining this wonderful session. We've come to the end of this particular event for today, and we would just like to say thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you who participated. I mean, it was awesome. And I'm glad we were all able to join and enjoy this session. At this point, I would like to say thank you. Bye bye. Also, ensure to follow our social media channels, and of course, we'll be willing to let you in on our next programs and events for the year. Thank you all. Bye bye.